Hello, hello, hello. Oh my God. Hello, everybody, and welcome to my very first. This is the very first edition of Pop Culture Power, and I am so sorry. I thought I had my setup already done, but it looks like I'm a little bit getting started a little bit slow today. But welcome. I am so excited about Pop Culture Power. So welcome. Come on in and have a seat. Come on in and sit down. This is going to happen every Friday because I wanted an opportunity to talk about all the amazing articles I get a chance to write. I believe that pop culture is the most powerful influence on the planet. And this is my interpretation of pop culture through my literary lens. If you guys watch this channel, you know that I am a writer. I talk a little bit about current events and things like that, but my true love is writing and being able to interpret stories specifically from people of color on a regular basis. And so this show is going to be my opportunity to share my take on pop culture through my literary lens. And I am blessed to be able to contribute to three amazing platforms right now. And so I wanted to be able to combine all the articles that I do for Lennox and Parker, of which I am editor in chief. Rolling Out, which I've been with for over 10 years as the relationships and women's issues editor, and recently added Collider as a features editor, where I get a chance to write about some juicy reality TV topics. So it's a great opportunity for me. And I wanted to bring this to my audience. You guys can see that I do more than just talk about relationships and reality TV in that space. So again, welcome to Pop Culture Power with Christal Jordan. Now, of course, this segment is brought to you by Lennox and Parker. They are my partner on this. And so you can see this obviously here on my YouTube from Christal XO, but you can also see this on Lennox and Parker, the website. So welcome, get your glass of tea, get you a cup of tea or something to snack on, and let's talk a little bit about what's going on in pop culture today. Now, I have not written an article about this, but I wanted to, I probably will, but I wanted to go ahead and talk a little bit about Kirk Franklin's recent documentary that is on YouTube. It is absolutely amazing, and I think it's probably one of the most heart-touching things that I have seen on social media. Period. I think releasing it on YouTube was genius because it allows everyone to see it at the same time. There's no subscription. It's not difficult. And I think sometimes because there are so many platforms and there's so many different places when people release things and it's difficult to get to, you lose some of your viewership. So I just want to say kudos to Kirk Franklin for having the genius to see that this is something that needed to be out. It's not a long documentary, but it definitely explains, it allows you a really intimate look into his life. And why he has made maybe had some of the struggles that he's had, maybe even some of the struggles that you did not know he was dealing with. I think that we could probably all agree that Kirk Franklin is a very different type of gospel artist. He's also probably the most successful, at least I would say that for our time. He's probably the most successful gospel artist that I know. But there's something about the way Kirk Franklin attacks a song that makes it touch people in a much different way. So I think that's one of the reasons it transcends gospel, is because he's definitely dealt with some things that people can relate to, and he brings a lot of authenticity to his music. Now, I did have the opportunity to do a cover on Kirk Franklin for Rolling Out a few years ago. I've actually interviewed him twice for Rolling Out, and had great interviews with him both times. One time it was during COVID, the last one for that cover. And so he was in his studio. But one of the things that I love about Kirk Franklin is that like I said, he's always been authentic. He's always been someone that has showcased his love for God and the fact that God has been there for him. But he's also been very honest about the fact that he's human and some of the struggles that he's gone through. He talks very candidly about having a porn addiction. He talks very candidly about dealing with the fact that he was adopted, and that's actually what we see in this documentary. So I would suggest, I really think everybody should watch it. I am an advocate for us not judging people as harshly as we are often instinctively, do. And I think when you get a chance to see what someone is dealing with, you're less likely to judge them as harshly. You get a chance to actually see them through a lens of compassion. And I guarantee you, if you watch this documentary from Kirk Franklin, you will definitely, any questions that you had about the fact that Kirk Franklin is very different, he's definitely an individual. I think you will have so much more appreciation for the message that he shares, and just for him as an artist. I think that he's truly had a life that's been touched by God, and just was in awe of the fact that he would be willing to share something as personal as him actually becoming reacquainted with one of his birth parents. I don't want to give too much away, but you definitely should check that out. It's available on YouTube. All you have to do is go to YouTube and type in Kirk Franklin. You'll see the documentary. I know he has an album coming out as well, but I just wanted to start off today's first episode of Pop Culture Power by giving a kudos to Kirk Franklin and his team. That being said, I also want to, the next thing I want to do is to award our winner. You guys know I do conversations on Mondays and Fridays. Mondays, we do Reality Check, which has been a series that I've done for Rolling Out, and also, showcased here on my YouTube channel, for years, at least, I would say at least 5 to 6 years. We've done Reality Check here. And so you can catch those on Mondays and on Fridays for recaps. I pop in sometimes throughout the week to do additional conversations, but we do have a winner. We have a winner for our beauty pack, and let me see where I put the beauty pack. Here it is. You guys have to forgive me. This is the first Pop Culture Power, and I've got to get on a plane in an hour, so I'm a little bit all over the place, but this is our beauty pack. And our winner is new at Newton Dye. So I cannot wait to get this out in the mail to you. I don't want to open it because it's a little special beauty pack. I'm going to be doing these giveaways all the time with beauty products, books, makeup, and different things like that. So Newton Dye, thank you so much for your hashtag of PCP. That's the hashtag for Pop Culture Power. Thank you for hashtagging that and watching the conversation on Monday with myself and Red from Ready to Love. We talked a lot about his journey on Ready to Love, and it was an interesting conversation. If you haven't seen that, you can go back through the channel and check it out. So with that being said, let's get into the topics for this week. Like I said, every week I want to do a rundown of articles that I've written for various magazines and or platforms. And so that is what Pop Culture Power is all about. It is an explanation of the power of pop culture seen through my literary lens. Your host, Christal Jordan. So the first one I want to talk about is probably my cover for Lennox and Parker. And I actually don't have the cover with me, but I need to bring that next week because I did a beautiful article on Erykah Badu after attending her concert here in Atlanta. And the title of the article is Seduced by the Magic of Erykah Badu. And I did this because I think this summer we all talked about the only concert that really people were talking about was Fiancé. And hey, hands down, the Fiancé concert was very impactful. I think I got a chance to talk about Fiancé and Taylor Swift for Fox 5. Hey, Colton. Hey, Kay. Hey, Sharon. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. So I got a chance to talk about Taylor Swift and Beyonce and the impact of their shows, their concerts over the summer. But I had an opportunity to go to Erykah Badu's concert. Erykah Badu was joined by Yasin Bey, which, I know as Mos Def. I don't think I'll ever get used to calling him Yasin Bey. But he opened for her. And I can tell you all, I've seen Erykah Badu before, but never like headlining with this. I saw her years and years ago, but this tour, this Unfollow Me tour, was probably one of the most intimate. Like, it was in Phillips Arena, which is it's now State Farm Arena here in Atlanta, which is a huge venue. But when I tell you, Erykah Badu gives a performance that makes you feel like you are sitting across from her in the living room, and she's sitting, like, cross-legged on the floor, and you feel like you are part of the musical experience in a way that is so much different than any concert I have ever been to. I will tell you guys, my favorite concert probably has been On the Run with Beyonce, and then, oh my God, I got a chance to go to see Outkast. I went 2 nights. I saw Outkast perform here in Atlanta, and I went twice because I knew that we may never get an opportunity to see Andre and Big Boy together again. And it was the most amazing concert I have been to. But I would have to put this Erykah Badu Unfollow Me tour right up there with Outkast, which makes sense because that's part of her family. She actually shouted out Outkast at the show. But Erykah, and the tour was called Unfollow Me, and it was that way for a reason. She talked a lot, I mean, about, social injustice and racism, specifically for people of color. She's a very outspoken advocate for that. She just is a very different type of artist. And so, like I said, it was an honor to be able to write about how we have all been seduced by the magic of Erykah Badu, one of the most authentic, iconic figures in music that I think is really um, under recognized. But hopefully people will start to appreciate that. I mean, she comes from such an authentic place. You don't get all the commercialism that a lot of people get with other artists. But I think that as far as impact, when I tell you that that entire stadium of like 60,000 people was tuned in to Erykah Badu in a way that I have not really seen since I saw Kanye West opened for Usher back in 2006, like when the Confessions album had just come out, and Usher was the biggest thing in the world, and Kanye West was unknown at that time. He came out with a piano with John Legend, who was at that time unknown as well, at the at a piano, nothing on stage but the two of them because all the amenities had been taken for Usher. And Kanye West, I knew West was an amazing star at that time, but what connects those two experiences for me is the fact that Kanye had nothing on the stage besides himself and piano, which was being played by an unknown pianist at that time, and he did Through the Wire and Jesus Walks, and the entire place was just with him, like he had all the pyrotechnics and everything else. I mean, he has a way of connecting with people. And so does Erykah Badu. It was like an amazing experience. So definitely check out Lennox and Parker. Go online and you can type in Seduced by the Magic of Erykah Badu and get a chance to learn a little bit more about my experience that night. So moving on to other pieces I've had a chance to do. You guys know I did a conversation with Todd Tucker. Now, Todd Tucker, as most of you have gotten to know him through Real Housewives of Atlanta, because he is married to Kandi Burruss. And that is really how most of us got a chance to know Todd. It was through him being introduced to us on Real Housewives of Atlanta and eventually marrying Kandi. So I had a chance to sit down with him and talk about his new movie, The Pass, and the fact that this year is 10 years. They're running on 10-year marital anniversary, which is admirable when you think about the fact that their marriage, their meeting was arranged on Real Housewives of Atlanta. I believe that Phaedra introduced the two of them, or at least that was the storyline. But they are still married 10 years later on reality TV, being one of the biggest couples on that show. So kudos to them. And again, if you want to see my conversation with Todd, you can go on this channel and look back through the archives and you'll see that conversation with Todd. But I wanted to drop a little nugget that was not used in the cover conversation because Todd has this movie out, streaming on Peacock right now, and it's titled The Pass. So in this movie, Drew Sidora plays a married woman who has whose husband, they've been married for 7 years, and her husband brings an opportunity to her, brings a suggestion that they liven up their sex life by allowing each other a pass. Well, initially it's allowing each other, but of course, men cannot handle what they can dish out. And so it ends up being the husband is supposed to get a pass, and Drew is allowing him to do that. The husband is played by the very handsome Rob Riley, and the two of them, have some on-screen chemistry. But the on-screen chemistry between Drew and Rob is nothing compared to the on-screen chemistry between Drew and her lesbian lover. So I talked to Todd about the fact that this is very interesting because, as we all know, Drew is dealing with rumors have been circulating about her being in a potentially extramarital affair with Ty Young, who is a former basketball player. So I'm asking Todd, because if you guys have seen The Pass, again, which is airing on Peacock, um, it's interesting because Drew, her sex scenes with the young lady that she's in the relationship with, she ends up taking a pass of her own, um, unbeknownst to her husband. And Drew's scenes are extremely um, convincing. I would just say they're extremely convincing. And so I was asking Todd, I was like, okay, so did you guys plan this? Because it seems very just convenient that Drew is in this media, storm with, trending topics on the fact that she's had a extramarital affair with a woman, and that's playing out in real life. And it's also kind of playing out in this movie. And Todd said no, but what he did tell me that I didn't share in the interview, because we didn't want to make it around that, is that they hired an intimacy coach. Todd shared with me that they hired an intimacy coach to come in and work with Drew. And I believe the actress' name was Tanya, so that the scenes would seem lifelike and that you'd be able to get the best angles. And I was like, wow, that is interesting, because I've never thought about, I just assumed that Drew was really good in these scenes because that's what she's got going on in real life right now. But, she said that, Todd said that, she was very lifelike in these scenes because you know this is what they were practicing backstage. And so anyway, just wanted to share that with you guys. An intimacy coach came in and worked with Drew and worked with Tanya on making the scenes feel lifelike. If you guys watch that film, come back and let me know what you think, because I feel like the scenes, they felt like things were really happening. It was hard for me to believe that it was not, that it was not uh, you know, a movie. I felt like this was really Drew having an experience in front of all of us. Honestly, it was very lifelike, very very lifelike. But anyway, kudos to the entire team. I definitely think that they did that on purpose. But as far as the movie, but it ended up being a win because I know the movie is doing really well on Peacock. And I'm sure they have more to come. And of course, we're going to be tuned in next season. There was talk about some upsets being done to the Real Housewives, but I'm certain that Drew is not going anywhere after the issues that she had. You guys see that reunion? I wrote about that for Collider as well, with Drew singing to her husband who was not responsive. It was just very rude. It was very weird moment. But anyway, that being said, check out the article on Todd Tucker. There on Rolling Out. It is titled "Todd Tucker Strikes Gold with the Past and Celebrates 10 Years with Candy." Kudos to them and happy anniversary to Todd and Candy. All right, moving on to some of my Collider um, articles that are doing really well this week. Speaking of Real Housewives of Atlanta, I had the opportunity to write about this disaster of a marriage that I think all of us are tired of hearing about: Kim Zolciak and Kroy Biermann. So this article I wrote from the standpoint of Kim and Kroy. I don't believe that marriage ever had a chance, because again, this is another marriage that we saw um, kind of come to its fruition on the show. Kim had been dating a married guy. If you guys are not followers of Real Housewives of Atlanta, then you may not know the scoop from the beginning. So Kim was in an extramarital affair. I really believe that Kim Zolciak does not get credit for being the first reality TV side chick, but she was freely admitting that she was in a relationship with this unnameable rich guy that was financing her lifestyle. So he was called Big Papa. They wouldn't say his name, but a lot of people in Atlanta knew exactly who it was. And he was actually having an extramarital affair with Kim and financing her life for her and her two daughters. So when the show aired and people started getting wind of it, of course, his wife started getting a little bit more angry at the little setup. And so their arrangement no longer worked for the wife. And so the husband started to kind of pull away. And so Kim found herself needing to find additional financial support. So she meets Kroy Biermann, who is an Atlanta Falcons player. He's about 10 years younger than her, but he's, an attractive guy, young, and most importantly, he's an Atlanta Falcons football player. So it's a good look for her reality TV persona. And so the two of them get together on the show, and it's not long before Kim gets pregnant. Surprise, surprise. Kim gets pregnant, and they end up having 4 children. Now, one is a set of twins, but they end up having 4 kids to add on to Kim's 2 children that she had already. And they also ended up leaving Real Housewives and doing a spinoff titled Tardy for the Party. But my reason for saying that this marriage was definitely doomed is the fact that we know Kim has shown us from the time we met her that she's all about financial restitution, right? So she was dealing with this married guy because he was paying her way. So when the two of them start their own show, Tardy for the Party, and they're doing all these, appearances and things like that, the money is flowing. Kim continues to spend at the level that she's been spending. Tardy for the Party was canceled, and things slowed up. And so the money slowed up. And so I was not surprised that the two of them ended up in divorce. I think that was kind of like par for the course, like that train is never late. And yeah, it's playing out in an ugly way. We really hope that they filed for divorce and then decided they weren't filing for divorce. But the divorce is all moving around the fact that they're in financial trouble. So their house is in foreclosure, and then it wasn't in foreclosure, and then it was in foreclosure. And it just kind of went back and forth. But right now, they are back moving forward with their divorce. And I believe their home, Kroy wants them to put the home up for sale because they can't afford it. I do think, I've interviewed a lot of reality stars over the last 15 years. And I think people don't understand that, the lifestyles of the rich and famous are not as easy to uphold as they used to be. I mean, it takes a lot of money to look like a reality star. So that being said, I'm going to move on to an article that I've done for Collider that I'm really excited about because I feel like Love and Marriage Huntsville is one that I talk a lot about. I've done interviews with the cast. I've had the opportunity to interview all the ladies and some of the couples from the cast. So this Love and Marriage Huntsville has a new villain. And you know what? The new villain I'm talking about is Letitia's cousin, Kiki Jabbar. Right. So if you guys have been keeping up, hey, private person, if you guys have been keeping up with Love and Marriage Huntsville, Kiki was introduced because she was talking negatively about her cousin, Letitia, who has been a main character since day one. So she was able to come on because she was talking negatively about her cousin to Melody, who was Keisha's nemesis at the time, right? So I'm never really a fan of anyone who comes into a space bashing a fan, like betraying your family member to get on television seems, lowbrow, at the most, even though people do a lot of things on reality TV. But that just seems to be a really bad way to get onto a show, but it worked for Kiki. So this season, there's actually a clip that we are releasing exclusively on Collider showing Kiki this season, this mid-season opener that aired last Saturday. Kiki is now allegedly being looked at because she's on a Crime Stoppers video. I know it sounds crazy, right? She's on a Crime Stoppers video because she's supposedly stole some merchandise from like a local home goods store. And so all the cast members are passing around this video. Kiki is saying she didn't do it. There's like I said, this clip that's coming out on Collider today. You can check it out, where she's basically saying that she's not able to talk about the case because she has retained counsel. And it's so weird to me because if you're being accused of stealing and it's on Crime Stoppers, like the Huntsville Crime Stoppers is showing this video, I'm going to tell people I didn't do it. I'm not going to say I can't talk about it because I've retained legal counsel. I've retained legal counsel and I am innocent if I really am. So it's interesting to see what's going to happen. But I do think, as I wrote in that article for Collider, I think that Martell can maybe relax because now there's a new villain. There's a new villain in Huntsville. And so Martell doesn't have to keep being the bad guy. People are kind of going to, relax on him because with Kiki stealing and then still being there because of bad talking her cousin, I'm sure that it's going to take some of the negative energy is going to move her way. And maybe Martell can get himself together. The season opener last Saturday was quite interesting. Shows Martell having financial issues. Meanwhile, Melody is living her best life, leveling up in every essence of the word. It's almost like Melody is now reenacting Sierra's Level Up song. She's making her own life video, leveling up with all these different product lines. Shouts out to her and Jay Boland for an amazing line of clothing that I cannot wait to get a few pieces from. But it just, Martell definitely made the wrong choice. And we're seeing all that play out. But like I said, kudos to him for another villain kind of taking his place in the whole Love and Marriage Huntsville community. Also, we know that Letitia and Marceau are the couple that everyone is kind of looking at with the side eye now. Marceau is, his sarcastic ways have kind of caught up with him, and Courtney's husband, Stormy's husband, Courtney. Approached Marceau and kind of confronted him. So things are shifting. But Martell is moving back up to good graces. Melody is definitely the queen of the show, but a lot of other things remain to be seen. So make sure that you check that out today on Collider. Also, I had the opportunity to write about ABC's newest venture, The Bachelor, the Golden Bachelor. The Golden Bachelor. Jerry Turner is the new Golden Bachelor. Jerry is 72 years old. Now, you guys know over the years, The Bachelor has been, to me, The Bachelor is like the standard for reality romance or the reality dating series because I know that VH1 had Flavor of Love, but really it was The Bachelor that was like the dating show that it was like that all American, this good looking guy has his pick of, at least 20 beautiful, thin, young women, right? So it was kind of like the upper echelon version of some of the dating shows that we saw on other networks. I think it's the standard, right? The Bachelor is kind of like the standard. So fans have consistently been pushing ABC to open up and make the series more diverse. So we've seen Bachelors of Color. Well, first of all, we've seen Bachelors of Color, and then they added The Bachelorette. So for all the feminists that were like, anything men can do, women can do better, they added The Bachelorette. So you have a beautiful woman that has, 20 men that are attractive that she has her pickup. So equal opportunity with genders. But I'm so impressed with ABC and the network that produces The Bachelor because they actually did listen to the public and they have introduced the Golden Bachelor, 72 years old. There's been so many people that have said, what about people needing to fall in love later in life, right? People in their early 30s and 20s and 30s are not the only people looking for love. We want to be able to see people experiencing love for the second and third time. And I'm not going to lie, introducing bachelors, bachelorettes, introducing bachelors and bachelorettes of color was a big leap. But this, I think, is even bigger because I don't think that television, specifically media, has ever really embraced, specifically for women, the idea of value not being connected to a woman's youth and beauty, right? So we have 20 women that are all age 60 and up that are here to, meet this guy that is 72 years old. Now, as you saw in the picture, I'll put that back out. Jerry is a very attractive 72. So we know that attractiveness is not something that we're probably ever going to lose, because most people don't want to tune in to watch something that does not look good, right? I can admit that. But the idea of bringing in women that are 60 and up is awesome to me. I think this is it's a great progression. It shows progression. It shows that the producers are actually listening to the public, and it also shows that the viewers are not as people are not as fickle and superficial as television has kind of expected its audiences to be. I love the fact that we're realizing that people want to see programs with substance, and they realize that there may be a little bit more to these women once that are over age 30, 40, and 50, when they have led full lives. They've experienced some things. They have some experience under their belt. They probably understand in a much more gratifying sense what they want in a partner. I am predicting that this is going to be a very big season for ABC. I think that it's going to be an opportunity for other shows to kind of take suit. I think ABC's done a great job of leading the charge when it comes to diversity and inclusion. And I love it. I think it's great for women just to see that, you can be beautiful. Beauty is not connected to a number. It's not connected to a number. Being a woman of value is not connected to a number. It actually is about the totality of womanhood. So I love the fact that we're going to see this. Also, I think that it may be great to see women have more to do with their lives and just bitch at each other, because they actually have a little bit more substance and have more things to talk about. The storylines can go deeper than just, being the typical mean girl, right? So I'm excited to see this. This airs on ABC on September 28th. So I'm definitely going to be tuning in. I'm going to be writing about the Golden Bachelor. So you guys make sure that you are locked in, and we'll be talking about it each week right here on Pop Culture Power. All right, so we're moving through the articles for Collider because I've had quite a few that I'm super excited about. I also had the opportunity to write about American privilege and the relationship of American privilege that we see played out on 90 Day Fiancé. So I'm a big fan of 90 Day Fiancé. I don't get a chance to talk about it much on my relationship show, but a friend of mine, Greg, aka 40, introduced me years ago to 90 Day Fiancé. Madness, absolute madness. The premise of this show, if you guys haven't watched, which I'm sure if you like reality romance like I do, you've probably seen it. But the premise of the show is that a privileged American that has a few extra dollars in the bank basically feels that they're able to leverage that money and their location being in America to appeal to a foreigner, right? It has the stench of it on to me. This is just my opinion of like the Great White Hope going to save the foreigner that's in a third world country that's reeked with poverty, and the wealthy American comes in and saves them and gives them a better life. Now, ironically, these Americans that go in to save the foreigners usually are very awkward, right? We see Big Ed. You guys know Big Ed. Big Ed is one of the biggest personalities on 90 Day Fiancé. Angela Dean, the kick-ass white lady from Georgia that goes over and is in her 50s, goes over and gets the 30-something-year-old attractive African guy. Well, the African guy who's a lot younger. Somebody he would never, ever have considered as a wife. But because he's in Nigeria, wants the money, she has the money, she goes over and they end up in a relationship. So most of these cases, the American is at least socially awkward. Usually there's some very clear issues of why they have not been able to find love here in the States. So they use the fact that they have money and that they have access to the country that is the land of dreams, and they go over and get this person. There's the idea that they have to get married within 90 days. That usually does not happen. But my piece is all about the fact that it really is an example of how, as Americans, we really um, we take for granted sometimes everything that we have, and then we also have a sense of superiority over other cultures. When you watch these people go over, Paul and Karini were another one of my favorite couples. You know, Paul goes over, Karini's in the Philippines. It's very, very unsophisticated, to be nice, over there, and he's just like really, you know, out of sorts with the way that they eat, the way that they clean themselves. I mean, we saw Ed in the shower with the water being thrown over him. It's just like Americans are not used to struggle at any, even our areas that are poverty stricken are definitely different than some of them over there. In different countries. But it really is a show where we're being entertained by the fact that Americans feel like they have things better than other people. It does very well. TLC has 20 spinoffs of after life 90 Day Fiance. There's 90 Day Fiance before, 90 Day Fiance after. So many spinoffs from that franchise. So it actually is probably one of the most successful franchises on television. But it's definitely reeks of American privilege. I'm not going to say white privilege, but I'm going to say American privilege. And I think that it's interesting to delve into that. So if you get a chance to check that out, it is on Collider. I think I used a picture of Big Ed as my featured picture because it's just ridiculous why Big Ed would think that although he cannot, find this knockout beauty in the States to be with him, that he should be able to go over at his big age of 54 and find a young, beautiful 22-year-old that would want to be his wife. Like, sir, you know, it's really not. Eh, just read the article. Let me know what you think. But I definitely love the idea that I got a chance to talk a little bit more about 90 Day Fiance because it is one of my favorite shows. You guys know my absolute favorite is Married at First Sight. I am a Married at First Sight stan. That is my favorite show because there is a feeling of, you do get the feeling that people really do want to fall in love. People really do want to believe that something amazing could happen. They want to believe that there's the possibility of love at first sight. The last article that I want to talk about that I did for Collider as well was on the ultimatum. The ultimatum. Netflix's The Ultimatum rewards bad girl behavior. And so you guys know I talk about Ready to Love all the time. We're talking about that later on tonight, right here on the channel. But one of the things that I've seen when you look at Housewives, you look at Basketball Wives, you look at Bad Girls Club, in most of these reality shows, bad girl behavior, if you act like a bitch on television, you actually end up getting more opportunities, right? And so in this particular season of The Ultimatum, it is amazing how we see one of the characters is able to actually hit her boyfriend in the face because he's talking to another young lady. And you sign up on the show, you go on the show to be paired with other people to make sure that you're in the right relationship. This young lady ends up actually slapping him in the face, and production does nothing about it. Besides that, another one of the castmates, I did another article. I put up actually a short on this channel. She talked so negatively and disrespectfully to her boyfriend, and that got them so much publicity. I mean, she got lots of screen time. She was really celebrated because of it. And so my question in this article is, why are we constantly rewarding bad girl behavior? If a man were to slap a woman, we would have him arrested. Aside being arrested, he probably would be fired from his job because you cannot hit women. You have to protect women. You cannot treat them that way. But we see a woman put her hands on a man on national television. Not only did the producers do nothing, but it makes it to air. Netflix keeps it and promotes it. It makes it to air. The two of them end up together, and then she ends up telling him she's pregnant, and they get a chance to leave the process, but she's never held accountable for her actions. And I just, wanted to say that's not right. You definitely know I am an advocate for females, but it's just a lot of times I think things go too far. So check that out. That is one of my latest pieces on the ultimatum rewarding bad girl behavior. Both these young ladies pictured in that header are some of the most toxic women we've seen. Also on Love is Blind, you know, the bad girl behavior with the two girls making fun of the other girls and laughing at them when they were crying. Like bad girl behavior is really rewarded on reality TV. So we cannot say that we want to be positive if we really don't. You know, we really don't want to be positive. We really want to be able to see women act out and that be rewarded. So I don't like that. And I just wanted to say that we're a little bit hypocritical when it comes to that. Last but not least, I want to remind my beauty pack winner, New Tendai. Thank you. New Tendai, thank you so much for your hashtag PCP and your favorite line from the interview with myself and Red. You guys tune in tonight because we're going to be talking with my co-host Mo, and we're going to be doing the recap for Ready to Love. I appreciate you guys for hanging out. This has been a slightly rocky first edition of Pop Culture Power, but I'm excited because it gives me an opportunity, like I said, to explain the articles I get a chance to write each week for Rolling Out, Collider, and my partner in this, Lennox and Parker. And it gives me another opportunity to connect with you guys. So if there are shows that you want me to talk about, if there are shows that you think are interesting and would fit the Pop Culture Power, please send that information to me. Actually, Albert said Angela looks closer to 80. Angela has had plastic surgery. Angela is trying to keep her Black man by all means, by any means necessary. You hear me? Angela is with it. But I appreciate you guys so much for hanging out with me today, this afternoon, spending your lunch hour with me. And I will be back next Friday with more Pop Culture Power. And tune in tonight at 10 o'clock Eastern for Mo and I to recap Ready to Love. We are thankfully at the end. I can't wait for that to be over. We will be giving away another beauty pack later this week. So if you want to win a beauty pack, make sure that you are listening tonight at 10 o'clock, and I'll be introducing another hashtag with PCP so you can win, and that winner will be announced next week, next Friday at 12 o'clock. I love you guys. Have a beautiful weekend. Remember, pop culture is powerful, but your personal influence can be even more impactful for someone in your world. So I love you all for watching, and I will see you next Friday at 12 noon right here on From Christal XO.